Oh, hey, maybe, kinda. That's a lot of spots on there. All right. Hi. Welcome to the video about graphing. This is only about graphing, not solving for y. I have a separate video that I'm going to make for graphing for y, or graphing for y. It's 9 o'clock at night. For solving for y. So, here what we have. Here's an equation, here's the graph. They want you to graph it. Who could have guessed? Not me. All right. So the way how we're going to actually do this, when you are given an equation, right, we always need it in this y equals form. And when we have it in this y equals form, we can actually type this into our calculator. And in the calculator, we can create the table. Now this table is where all of the points come from to create a line. So an example of a few of these points would be like, let's see here, 0 and 2, -2 and 5. No, I'm wrong. -2 and -1. -4 and -4. 2 and 5. 4 and 8. There we go. There's the actual table for the line. But again, you guys can get this from the table when you type it in to your calculator. You should know how to get to the table, but if you don't, I can answer that question on the test. Okay. Now it's important to know that every two numbers make up 1 point, right? So +4 and -4, or -4 and -4, these two numbers make up 1 point, right? Think about it like moving across a board game or playing the game Battleship, right? If you ever play Battleship, what it is you're basically going to say a coordinate. So if I say I think your ship is on A5, you go to A and then over to 5, and then that's where you hit, right? So it's kind of like that. The X value, X's, tell you how far left or right you move. Okay, so if it's a negative number, you're moving this way to the left. This is the negative. If it's a positive number, you move to the right. That's the positive. Y tells you how high up or down you move. So if it's positive, you go up. If it's negative, you go down. I feel that Y is the most self-explanatory for people. They kind of understand positive is up, negative is down, but a lot of people seem to have trouble with the idea of negative being left and positive being right. But what you can do is put like a plus and minus, right? Just so you know which way you're moving. So plotting points itself is the way how I always like to say how you should do it, is that you start in the very center, right here at 0, 0. And I'm going to first plot -4, -4. So my x is -4. I'll go over to -4 on the x. 1, 2, 3, 4. And my y is -4. So I'll go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I used both numbers to make one dot. That's your goal. Same thing with the next one. -2, -1. Over to -2. Down 1. 0, 2. I'm going to go 0 spaces left or right, and then 2 spaces up. 2, 5. Over to 2, up to 5. All you need realistically is 3 to 4 points to make one good line, right? I did 4. You could do the other 5th one if you want. That'd be like right there. And that's a pretty bad line, but whatever. I don't have a ruler. You guys will, though. But that's what the line should look like, right? Make sure you put the arrows at the end. Arrows show that they go on infinitely in both directions. All lines do that unless stated otherwise. So that's the completed line. Now let's talk about actually graphing systems. I'm gonna shorten this a little bit because, I don't know, I feel that if you want to learn more about graphing, you could always just kind of go back to my discussion on this before I start talking about systems. But I'm just gonna quickly graph both of these lines here. So I should have done this beforehand, but I'm dumb. So I'm just gonna bonk, 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 bonk. There's one line. And then the other line, bink, and then bink, 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 good enough. All right. What these questions are asking, when you are graphing a system of equations, it wants you to find where they touch, right? That's the only thing that this does for you. Graphing multiple lines just wants you to know where are they touching. So at this coordinate right here, this would be the coordinate, let's see here, 0, -8. Okay? Remember that every single point is in this form. X value, then Y value. Okay? It looks just like your table. X value, Y value. X value, Y value. That's it. You just find where they touch. There should be like one multiple choice question that's just asking where do they touch. It should be the easiest question on the test because it's just looking at a picture. All right. But yeah, that's it for graphing and graphing systems.